Hello, hello. Welcome to Lunch and Learn. Hi, everybody. Hi, Brian. Hi, Alex.
Hello.
Who else do I see? Oh, Maurice and Erica, Nikea. Hi, Diana. Hi, Angelique. Christy,
Hello.
Tanya. A couple people still connecting. How's everybody doing today? Well, come on now. We ain't gonna have a quiet room. Okay, I see a couple in the chat.
Great. How are you doing?
I'm good. I'm good. Brian, you're pending with the IRS. We are just over here waiting.
I'm excited.
Yeah.
Can't wait.
I'm excited for you too.
But
Okay.
I don't
Oh,
hold a whole lot of faith that I'll get an answer back by Thanksgiving, as you said.
I think we're going to get an answer by Thanksgiving.
Why? Is it just because they're in a generous mood that time of year and they actually might, work harder or
You know
faster?
what? It's such a shit. It's like a total shithole. You never know. I've had some clients come back in 2 weeks and I've had others come back in 8 months. So it
Oh,
really depends on whose desk it lands on. But I have a pretty good feeling. I think we'll hear about yours probably with it. I would say by the end of this month.
okay. Okay, great.
Yeah. Hi, Tyrone. Okay, what wins, what milestones? Amber, I know you got to win. You want to share it? Okay, and then we'll open it up to everybody else.
Yeah, an organization that I serve as a financial advisor for, and they were able to hire our services because of a grant that they got, and they got it funded in October. But they just got breaking news today that they got another grant, and that grant was $2 million.
Yeah,
That's
so
just like,
exciting. Listen, this week, let's add that. We're like up to like 6 million in grants in just the past, like, I don't know, Alex, is this just in the past like 4 or 5 months?
So luckily, last week we found out that three organizations we work with at the nonprofit plug got the CFCI Amity, like JCOD round two. And so that totaled over 2.4 million for those three. So
oh,
that's good.
wow.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, so the organization I'm with got one of their grants from CFCI, and then another one just came in from Watts. But like literally, I just like found out a couple minutes ago. I just texted Sharon and just tears. Like,
Yeah.
very, very exciting, very humbling.
That's so awesome. That's a major win for that organization. God, just the past grant awards in the past couple of weeks have just been insane. It's awesome. Okay. I mean, that's a hard win to beat, but we'll take any win we can get. Any other wins, accomplishments, anything anybody wants to share before we dive in today? Tyrone, since you're on here, you want to mention what you got coming up in November in Miami?
There we go. I had to get off mute. Hi, everybody. My name is Tyrone Nance. I am a community leader, social impact leader in South Los Angeles. I run an organization, founder and CEO of a nonprofit called It's Bigger Than Us. In LA, does a lot of community engagement work, partnering with Dr. Sharon and so many wonderful people in the community. But I'm also a part of a few other different things. And so BPN, Black Professional Network, I'm the vice president. Sorry, like somebody's calling me right in the middle of my pitch. All right, tell them to go away. All right, there we go. And we're going to be going to Miami next week, and so I'll be moderating a panel discussion with social impact leaders from around the world, which is really cool. And then I get to meet Stephen A. Smith, which I'm like totally like geeked out about because I like love him. I got his book right here. I'm gonna have him come sign it. So I'm just super excited about that. But that's fun. And then headed into the holiday season, Winter Wonderland, partnering up with Council District 8 with Marquise Harris Dawson and the mall and it's in the mayor's office to give out 10,000 toys. About 100 community-based organizations will be present. And it'll be a fun event, December 9th, 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. So always willing to share information. So there's a lot of good things happening and happy holidays, everyone.
A ton, a lot of great. So if for any of you that are in Los Angeles, we've got people from all over the US on here, but for those that are in Los Angeles, Black Professional Network is a great group in the LA area for business at networking, connections, partnerships, which we're going to be talking about today, and just a really good opportunity to find other professionals. So if anybody's interested, maybe Tyrone, you can drop that link in the chat box, because that would be great for our Los Angeles people that are on. Cool. Yep. Just drop so you guys can see. He'll drop the link in the chat for BPN for Los Angeles. And this is out in Florida, is actually where Black Professionals Network is headquartered. So for any of the Florida groups, that's a great one out there too. Okay. Anybody else have a last milestone or anything that they want to share before I dive in? Today's going to be super, super info heavy, but we will share the recording. We'll share the PowerPoint. It's a heavy topic. This is pretty much one of the best ways to get money. And this is why we've gotten so many grants in the door. But any last milestone, any other thing anybody wants to share? Going once. Twice. Okay, good. Okay, sold. So let's dive in. Thanks, Taryn. I see the link in the chat box. Let me share my screen. Alex, I made you a co-host so you can, check on people as they come in. Okay. All right. Can everybody see the PowerPoint?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, cool. Thanks, Brian. If you see the mouse going crazy on the screen, it's because I'm moving things around, but it looks like I'm having ADD over here. Okay, so we're going over today. We're talking about the power of strategic partnerships. This one is critical, especially as we're going into the holiday season, end of year, Giving Tuesday. You guys know from our last session when we talked about Giving Tuesday that the last 3 days of the year are the largest donor days of the year. So working on your strategic partnerships now to really take advantage of the last quarter of the year is going to be critical. So that's what we're going to go through today for you guys. Like I said, it's going to be really info heavy today, and it's also going to be text heavy. And I did that on purpose on this PowerPoint so that you guys would have reference to go back and refer to, but it's all recorded and we'll send this out to everyone that registered. Y'all know I like to keep it super informal. I'll drop the F-bomb quite a few times. Going to share some statistics for those of you that are new, may not be used to me doing that. But we got the real Dr. Sharon on here today. So of course, Amber Anthony, which makes us the Chamber Show. So welcome to today's Lunch and Learn the Chamber Show. We're going to go over strategic partnerships. It's informal. If you have questions, put them in the chat box or just ask away, unmute yourself and ask. We don't need to do any hands up. So just ask if questions come up or if anything needs to get repeated. Okay, so of course, I have to start off with a statistic. So it's on the slide. I'm going to read it to you guys because it's insane. So National Council of Nonprofits, which I'll get that link and put it in the chat for you guys because it's a really dope resource. They stated that 78% of successful nonprofits attribute their impact to strategic partnerships. I feel like I want to say like, duh, but I think that that's like a pretty open statistic and not a known statistic to a lot of people, but it just shows you and demonstrates to you how important strategic partnerships are in the success of your nonprofit organization. If you've been a nonprofit plug client of ours before or a current one, you hear me hound strategic partnerships into you like a freaking broken record, including the other alternate term. Does anyone else know what I call strategic partnerships? Anybody on here know what I call? I see Amber, I see you got the smirk on your face. Anybody want to take a wild guess? What else do I call strategic partnerships? What's the alternate name I use? Anybody got a guess? Let me check the chat box. No, okay. Politricking. Literally, that is exactly what you are doing when you're creating strategic partnerships. You are politricking. I have been talking about this for the past several years. Everybody needs a way to relate to information. Politricking is exactly what you're doing. Okay, so of course, Helen Keller said it best. Alone we can do so little, but together we can do so much. Literally nobody on here probably can operate without a strategic partnership. If anybody comes to me and says that they can, I'm gonna tell you you're full of shit. Okay, so let's get into the goods. So as we dive into strategic partnerships, here's why it matters. Enhanced resources, increased reach and visibility, diversification of expertise, mutual learning and innovation. All four of these are critical to the success of your nonprofit organization. Your nonprofit cannot operate successfully without strategic partners, right? So think about it when you're in a for-profit world and you have a business and you want to create better resources for folks. Talk about like economies of scale. Nonprofits get the same thing. So you get access to economies of scale. So you get to purchase things for a way cheaper price and get way more greater amounts of it. That's economies of scale. You get to work with so many different people that have different knowledge areas. Even us here at the Nonprofit Plug, we as a for-profit firm have strategic partners because I definitely don't know everything, and nor do I want to. I don't want to know everything. That's actually probably even more so important than I don't know everything. And so I look to find partnerships with people who have expertise in other areas. Financial management, that would be Amber Anthony in Solid Solutions. We look for people who might be marketing experts, people who might be really good at the pitch and the ask. That is why strategic partners are critical. Okay. Alex or Amber, if you see anybody pop into the chat, just let me know. Or guys, you already know, just interrupt me with questions. Okay, so like I told you, it's going to be really text and info heavy, but there's a reason, because strategic partnerships are so impactful, especially financially to your organization. More times, often than not, you will get a grant for your organization because of a strategic partner or a relationship that you have developed. So collaborating with the right partners is crucial for the success of your nonprofit. So here's a couple of ways that you can consider identifying your potential partners. So making sure your partner has alignment with your mission and your values, complement each other's strengths, shared target audience and goals, capacity and resources. Here's a really good one: reputation and credibility. This is really important. You don't want to just partner with someone just to partner with them. You want to vet them before you actually make them a strategic partner. They're an extension and a reflection of you. This is why reputation and credibility is so important. You imagine if you partner with somebody and they pull some fucked up shit, you're screwed. That is a reflection of your organization. So be sure, not all money is good money. So be sure you're doing a vetting process on who you might partner with. They need to have a positive image of your organization. Okay. Long-term commitment. Partners are great. Sometimes they come and go, but seeking partners who are committed to long-term collaboration will help you build an even greater impact. Legal and ethical considerations. This is where it comes into reputation and credibility and understanding who this potential partner is. A lot of organizations, especially some of the more advanced nonprofits, they're going to have memorandums of understanding, partnership contracts. There's going to be fiduciary responsibilities between the two organizations. All of that needs to be clear, lined out, and communicated. So remember, so this is, a lot of you are brand new nonprofit organizations. So this is kind of a brand new area that you're just getting into. So these are some of the critical components to identifying your potential partners. So keep these in mind. So this is why this slide is so detailed, is because these are very, very key components to your partnership identification. I would say probably out of all of these, and Amber, let me know your thoughts too, but I'm saying reputation and credibility is probably the most important out of all of these on the entire slide. And then finally, there's geographical consideration. This one's okay, but sometimes a lot of partners, they want to be in your local city or your local area because they want to participate in the programs that you have. So it's not a mandatory consideration to have geographical, relationship, but it probably is going to give you guys some benefit. For example, again, all those 4.3 million grants that have been secured over the past couple of weeks, including Amber's new grant of 2 million for the organization she's been working with. Those are geographical ones because those funders had a relationship in Los Angeles. So that's why those grants were so important to geographical consideration. But for the most part, you know, if you're going after strategic partners, you know, Targets, Walmarts, sponsorships and things like that, geographic may not come into play, but a lot of time they're going to want to know. And a lot of these funders also, they have a special passion area and they want to serve. So just keep that in mind. Latanya, I see your chat. Yes, our organization does help nonprofits find grants. Just you can reach out to us and we can have a chat. I just put our email address in the chat box. Okay. Any questions on identifying potential partners in any of these categories? So remember, when identifying potential partners, alignment with your mission and values, complementary strengths, shared target audience and goals, capacity and resources. Ooh, that might be my number 2 to reputation and credibility, because I want to know what you can give me, right? In the nonprofit sector, it's all about what shared resources we can have and what can you as a partner bring to our organization and what can you give back to that other partner. So capacity and resources, reputation and credibility. I can't emphasize that one enough. These people are an extension of a reflection of your organization. So choose wisely. Long-term commitment, legal and ethical considerations, and geographical considerations. But like I said, capacity and resources, reputation, credibility, those are going to be your 2 critical ones. Okay. Any questions on this slide before we go on? And we can come back to any of them. Okay. So when we're looking at building relationships, this is where the money is. The money is in building relationships. Okay. I know I hound on this all the time, and there's a reason for it. Every single relationship I have created, Amber has created, Chamber Nation has created, has been in these 3 categories. Attend industry events. As much as I hate to attend things, I can't get a partner or a relationship if I'm not out there developing and cultivating these and meeting new people. Network with potential partners, leveraging existing connections. So let's kind of dive into what attending an industry event looks like. So this is actively participating in conferences, workshops, networking events related to your nonprofit's focus area in a lot of the big cities, especially like Los Angeles, Miami, Chicago, New York City, Houston and Dallas. Those areas have massive networking events that you should definitely be showing up to. A lot of them are nonprofit workshops. A lot of them are business development. Just because you're a nonprofit organization doesn't mean you shouldn't be doing business development. You absolutely should, and probably more so than any for-profit entity in the nonprofit sector, because in the nonprofit sector, we don't typically have business acumen and the business skill set to be running a nonprofit organization. So attending industry events is going to be critical for you, and you never know who's going to be there. Why am I blanking on his name, Amber? At the industry event we just went to, the football player, and I'm having a brain fart, and I love the guy, and I can't believe I'm forgetting his name. Drew Brees. Who dat? We were just at an event 2 weeks ago with Drew Brees there. So you never know who's going to be at some of these industry events. And then, of course, in person fosters a personal connection, and that lays your groundwork for all your future collaboration and for that opportunity to ask for money. Okay. Network with potential partnerships. So once you attend these events, then you want to cultivate these relationships. You want to seek out potential partners, use social media, attend webinars. We've actually had a couple of people just from attending our lunch and learns who have met each other, created a virtual relationship, and have partnered and collaborated together. That's exactly what we want to see. Tangela asked, what are some sites to connect with on industry events? Oh, Alex, good idea. Learning to play golf just for networking and strategic partnerships. Exactly. And yes, Tangela, Eventbrite is great. Nikia Carter, who is on here from 218, she's on here on the Zoom. She has a lot of local, if you're in Los Angeles, Women Elevating Women events. Those are all through Eventbrite. But that's a great way. And in Eventbrite, you can put the hashtag of what you're looking for. Like if you're looking for entrepreneurial development, business development, nonprofit networking events, also the Association for Fundraising Professionals, they have events every single week. Those are so good. Alex, will you drop a link for the Association for Fundraising Professionals in the chat? That one's one of the best one, you guys, because that's all nonprofit. It's all about funding opportunities. It's all about grants. It's all about strategic partnerships. And that one's a good one. And they're all over the United States. So there's chapters in Florida, there's chapters in Texas, everywhere is a chapter. On November 16th, the Nonprofit Plug is getting recognized as an industry partner with the Association of Fundraising Professionals of Orange County. So it's a really good group to be partnering with. Not to mention, it's full of hundreds of professionals in the nonprofit sector that specialize in fundraising and grant writing and stuff. Okay. Leverage existing connections. So just as important as attending industry events and networking with potential partners, then you need to cultivate and you need to go back through your partners that you already have and keep developing that relationship. So that's really where you're going to tap into your organization's existing network, and especially who is on your board and teaching your board to leverage their network. So you have board members, you have staff, you have supporters, volunteers. They all have connections to a partner. Have the conversation with your board members and your volunteers. You know, you can even start out as basic as saying, oh, who do you know in your network that may want to volunteer with us? People who start as volunteers become donors. I think I shared a statistic on that back on the Giving Tuesday day. I forget what it was, but it was some like astounding number of volunteers that become donors. So leveraging your existing connections through your board members, your staff, your supporters, and your volunteers. So these relationships initiate conversations with potential partners that these become warm introductions instead of cold calls. So that helps establish trust within your community. Remember, vetting your partners, vetting the potential is all super critical to the success of your guys' organization. So building relationships, attend industry events, network with potential partners, leverage your existing connections, especially because you already have a board, you may have staff, you have volunteers. They are all potential partners and they all have potential partners. Ooh, thank you, Mama Elephant. 85% of volunteers donate to nonprofits they volunteer for, as cited in the Global Trends in Giving report. Okay, I knew there was some crazy freaking statistic on that. Mama Elephant for the win, as usual. That's why she's Mama Elephant. She's the boss. Okay, 85% of volunteers donate to the nonprofit they volunteer for. So that's another reason. And one of our topics in the couple coming weeks, we'll talk about doing volunteer army and how to create your volunteer army and leverage your volunteers. So imagine if you have thousands of volunteers, that's all potential thousands of dollars in donation. Tangela, it's not a yes or no answer to that question. She asked, is it tough to find funding for staff? If you're going after funding opportunities that are unrestricted funds and especially goes towards operational expenses, those funds can be used for staffing. Not only that, sometimes there are funding opportunities that are to hire a specific position, especially social workers, licensed social workers, case managers. Those are pretty easy to find funding for. So keep that in mind when you're looking at grants. You want it to be either unrestricted or for it specifically to state that is to hire positions and do workforce development. These grants that just came out that we secured for a couple of clients that were all in the homelessness industry and community safety, they were in the $1.so million was for funding to support staff, which is really exciting. Okay, so creating mutually beneficial agreements. This is important because when you're bringing on a strategic partner, they want something out of you as the organization also. So it needs to be a win-win situation for both the strategic partner and for the nonprofit organization. To do so, you have to have hard conversations. Amber and I love having hard conversations because it gets you the most ROI, which is return on your investment. Sometimes you just have to talk about the bullshit to get through it, to clarify, to have transparency so that you can have a solid foundation for your relationship. So you do that by defining your goals and your expectations, understanding what your strategic partner might want. Do they just want you to share a logo? Do they want to be a part of every event? Do they want to be mentioned on your website? Tyrone, I'm going to call you out because you are the king of strategic partners, and especially with the back to school events that you do. Can you give us a couple of examples so people can understand when you're actually implementing the strategic partner and what that looks like? And what does a win-win partnership look like for you? I know I totally put you on the spot. Listen,
did.
that literally the king of partnerships right there.
I mean, I feel like you hit everything on the head, but I think just from like just a transparent perspective, I look for like for back to school. Over the last 3 years, we've been able to scale, which was our first initiative we launched in 2020. Just focusing on blending volunteer opportunities in the community, as well as exploring the different social determinants and different ways that we can give. The first one was back to school, and we gave out school supplies. We raised about $10,000, gave out school supplies. The next year, we were able to adopt 5 schools and give out backpacks to all 5 schools. The third year, we're able to essentially give out for the last 2 years, give out 5,000 backpacks. That only happened through strategic partnership and planning. And so for me, because my mission is aligned with community activation and health equity, I partner with organizations that have long-term commitment in South LA and the surrounding areas towards promoting better health. And a lot of these companies, they need access to folks in our community, and they're willing to pay for that and support and come alongside you, because as you grow, their relationship grows in the community too as well. And so what I do is just nurture. I invite a bunch of people. This is a super secret. I invite a bunch of people to the back to school event. Some are new, some are existing, and based off the event that occurs, I see who kind of cream rises to the top and who is like, really invested in the mission and the work. And I strategically build with them over the next like quarter 3 and 4 to get them ready for the next event. And they also bring in new partners, but then also look and see if certain people that signed up to partner, they don't hit their goals or they kind of like fall off. I kind of like reevaluate that relationship to see if this is something that we need to continue doing. And I think by continually observing them and looking and seeing and building that relationship with them, you have a clear picture of who you want to build with it and what you want to do with it. So I hope that answered the question a little bit, but
yeah, I have a follow-up question for you. So what kind of things have some of your partners requested from you? Has it been like logo sharing and like the marketing?
Oh, yes.
Stuff? Like,
Yeah.
what kind of things
So
have they
got
requested?
you. So um there'll be stuff for the event and leading up to the event. So sponsorship visibility on digital airwaves, from stories to posts to collaborative post and sharing. Also t-shirts, sponsor t-shirts. So some companies is like, yeah, I'll give you $10,000 just to like put our logo on a t-shirt, and we just want to float around. So tons of visibility. So branding, t-shirts, branding across the event, logo placements, and also the logo placements actually matter. Like if you have a logo placement above like your headline sponsor, those are top dollar ones, and they should be treated as that. Some of the ones below aren't as visible, but they get the recognition. And another kind of quick tip too is if you do invite city officials and strong community partners that already have a preference, a lot of organizations want to be connected to those. And so sponsorship packages can be a la carte based off how it is, but I like the 3-tier, and I like to tier them based off my mission, whether it's legacy building, or bridge builder, or whatever I'm kind of like focused on pushing. I create sponsorship tiers around that align with the mission, so that folks can fall in love with that and look at different opportunities to give. But also just kind of like it has like the different packages. So the top tier package is going to have visibility on shirts and flyers and I mean everywhere you can think of. Like when you walk in a room, they're walking in there with you, so that they're paying to join hips with you. And then some of the other ones are a bit more relaxed, and some of the a la carte ones are, hey, I want to get involved, but I don't have that kind of revenue. You still want to also build with them too as well, whether it's, if you have a sponsor tier for $1,000 and they only can give $300, and they have like heart, passion, and you can see the long-term commitment value. You may want to honor that and maybe put their logo up there, because it's going to be beneficial for you the following year. One of the sponsors for the back to school event the previous year was not able to give a significant amount, but the following year they gave $90,000 towards it. And so
Just never
that
know.
yeah, and that was because the relationship building was really a focus part. So the sponsorship tiers are great to have, but you also don't want to lock yourself into it. Use it as like a kind of like a placeholder to like navigate those conversations or relationships, because you never know what company or organization may have.
One of my favorite things to do when I'm looking at strategic, thank you, Tyrone, when I'm looking
problem.
at strategic partners and sponsorships. And for those of you that maybe didn't attend our sponsorship training we had a couple of weeks ago, be sure to go on our YouTube channel. And we did a full hour training on sponsorships. What I like to do, whether it's a sponsorship partnership or just a strategic partnership, program partnership, whatever it might be, I like to ask the partner, what kind of things would benefit them the most and what would they like out of it? And we have a conversation and come to a mutual agreement upon it too. So sometimes you're going to be saying, hey, partner, I have X, Y, and Z for you. And that might be the end of the discussion. But if you have the opportunity to say, hey, partner, what would benefit you from this partnership? And let's talk about that and put that together. That's going to that gives them the ability to participate and feel like they're a part of the development of the relationship. So keep that in mind. You might have the two approaches where sometimes you're going to have a set, like, here you go. And then sometimes ask your partner, what would be the most benefit for you being a partnership of this program? So keep that in mind when you're going through. And I've seen a couple of people in the chat asking about, we don't really have teams. How do we do this? That's where going to networking events is going to be really critical for you guys, and just start meeting people. It's like going to high school and college all over again. You got to go find your new tribe. You got to go find your new groups. Tyrone, did you have something you want to share?
Yes, you're exactly right. Opportunities like when you have like Taste of Soul Out, where they say, oh, there's 500,000 people that are going to be in the city of LA. Guess who's going to be out there? There's going to be so many community partners and businesses and organizations that that wouldn't normally respond to you right away, if you emailed them. But guess what? You get to get in front of them, give an elevator pitch, and you're asking your why, and you can lock them in. That's how I've been able to, connect with Target or Google, most recently like Amazon or Habitat for Humanity. And these are all just because you attend events. So if you go to like networking events or you go to community events, get their business cards, tell them a little bit about you, and do a follow-up email. You never know where it goes. Like that is, I think, crucial. I've gained a lot of success just off that.
Yeah, I'm going to give you guys two examples of something just like that today. One is the one that's on the screen that I'm going to share with you guys. That was super, super awesome. I never cried so hard in my life. And then the other one is Amber and I were at a marketing studio in Orange County, California, with a group called Rogue Creatives. And he was telling us how there was this networking event and this woman needed something like a couple million to purchase a building or something like that. And she wasn't going to go to this networking event. And our friend, we call him our bestie, Matt was like, just come to the event. I'll introduce you to some people. So the woman, she was like, like dragging her feet. She went to the event. She met one of the California political representatives and asked for the money. There was some lead up to the conversation, and literally got the full approval to purchase an entire multi-million-dollar building from one event. So this is why it's so important for you guys to network, to get your strategic partners. That's why we hound on attending events, going to workshops, showing up in the community. Once you really establish that for a while, you can do that less and less, but it's going to take this grunt work and sweat equity in the beginning in order to get some of those relationships. Okay, so thank you, Brian, for sharing that resource in the group. Brian just shared Business Network International and put the link in the chat. Always dropping good resources in the chat box, you guys. So keep an eye on those for sure. And we'll put those in the recap email too. Okay, so there's this is a strategic partnership that I'm a part of that I really wanted to share with you guys. I had been cultivating this relationship for several years with an organization called the Change Reaction. They're a nonprofit organization that does a lot of funding for the working class individuals, primarily of Los Angeles. And then there's this other nonprofit that I work with called Rock Era. They provide youth programming in Los Angeles, in Watts, in Inglewood, and a couple of those areas. And a couple, I think it's been maybe a year or two now, and I'm going to show a little mini video of it. We were all trying to find funding. We're all trying to develop these relationships. We were trying to develop the relationship between Change Reaction, Rock Era, and our firm. And what ended up happening is we found out some of the needs that this nonprofit organization need. By cultivating this strategic partner over a couple of years, we were able to surprise Rock Era with a fully equipped van that they can use for their youth programming. On top of that, I think they got like a $35,000 check. On top of that, the two co-founders each got their own personal donated check from the organization too. It was the coolest thing. And then because of a partnership that I had with a van fleet firm, so random, they had an extra van in their fleet and sold it to us at a super low cost to give to this organization. So let me see if I can pull up this video for you guys. Oh, there's no sound. Hold on.
I can't talk. Honestly, I feel I cannot. I just don't believe it's real.
Fortunately, Rock Era, they currently don't have reliable transportation to safely transport these kids. But that's about to change because of friends in the Change Reaction. They've got them covered. So.
Okay. So like, see how crying hard she is? I'm going to see, I don't know if I have the van is the most beautiful van you guys could ever see. I don't know if it's on their Instagram any recent. I actually saw it driving down the street the other day. It was so cool. So that van that they showed in the video, that was kind of like that dark navy blue, they wrapped it and it's this neon pink van and it drives all over Los Angeles County, picking up kids, taking them to youth programming. This was all because of a strategic partnership. Oh, I wish I could find a good picture of this van. It's so cool. Like the whole thing is just this gorgeous pink and it has all these kids' faces on it, kind of in alignment with all their colors. Oh, there it is. This one, you guys. Can you guys see that with the people standing in front of it? And there's the rock van behind it. Such a cool program. And it was such a cool way. They had the van just pull up out of the, down the street one day and just present it to them. It was so cool. Okay. Let me get back to this. So the link to that nonprofit organization and to the van reveal is in here so you guys can kind of see it as an example. Okay, I know it was so cool. I cried so hard that day when they presented the van to them. But that just, like I said, it goes to show you, if you show up to events, you introduce yourself to people, you cultivate relationships, you politrick here and there a little bit, and you really establish these bonds. This nonprofit organization is a perfect example of being the benefit of a strategic partnership. They got a van. They also got insurance paid for a year for the van too. And then that big check donation. So really, really cool opportunity. Okay. So with every strategic partnership comes a couple of challenges, right? So I'm giving you a couple of challenges here, but the strategy to solve that. So we may have communication barriers, we may have differing organizational cultures, we may have to be managing expectations. That last one, managing expectations, is probably the most critical of all of these and the largest challenge. So if you're not from day one having those hard conversations of what expectations are for this relationship and outlining those, your relationship is guaranteed to fail, and I have seen it. So from day one, the conversations need to be had about what are you going to get out of this, timelines, goals, contributions, any kind of conflicts, frustrations, things like that. The strategy for managing expectations. So this is another very text heavy slide on purpose. I'm trying to move my Zoom thingy out of the way so I can see you guys. God, that thing is so annoying. Okay, so conflict, challenge, communication barriers. So maybe there's a difference in communication styles, channels, language. You never know. What's the strategy? Establish from day one clear communication protocols, regular weekly check-ins, defined reporting mechanisms, and how all those tools are going to help bridge that gap. In the beginning, when I have strategic partnerships, I like to meet at least once or twice a week until we all mutually agree upon that we're comfortable with our partnership. You might have differing organizational cultures. So there might be work styles, decision-making processes that just may not be in alignment. So prioritize understanding each organizational culture. So team building activities, joint training sessions, workshops, anything that can put everybody together in a room and develop that and cultivate that relationship, that'll take care of differing organizational cultures. Okay, and the final challenge, managing expectations. Misaligned expectations regarding goals, timelines, contributions can lead to severe frustration, conflict, and can also kill a strategic partnership. So from day one, it's very important that the strategy is clear, defined roles, responsibilities, expectations, having a formal agreement, regularly doing site visits and revisiting these agreements that you have. This is why it's so important to have weekly check-in calls, maybe once or twice. Maybe you do it by Zoom every week and then a follow-up phone call. These will eliminate some of these challenges. So this slide, like I said, it's text heavy, so it gives you the challenge and it gives you the strategy. We love strategies and solutions. Okay, any questions on this? I told y'all I was going to be really heavy info today. I want a kiss too. We love you all. Okay, so monitoring and evaluating your partnerships. This goes into some of those challenges and solutions. So having your regular check-ins with partners, evaluating the progress and the impact, and then adapting and improving from there. So when you guys are going to networking events, industry events, workshops, seminars, and we dropped a couple of events in the chat box, no matter where you are in the United States, they're all over. When you're going to those, you're asking for business cards, you're asking for Zoom meetings, you want to set up a follow-up call. Maybe you want, if you're local, you can go to tea or coffee or take them to lunch. And then once you get that partnership, you have clear expectations and goals, you set up weekly meetings, you evaluate the progress, you ask your strategic partner, is there anything else that they would like to see or that they need? I don't think a strategic partnership is successful without asking your partner, what do they need? And then of course, adapting and improving from there. You can, an agreement, although it's a contract, is a working document. If you need to make changes, you can always do that, especially if it's for the betterment of your strategic partner. Okay. So here's kind of what we went over today. So I want to see if anybody has any questions. We said why strategic partners matter, how to identify your potential partners, how do you build those relationships, how do you find those relationships, creating the beneficial agreements. We gave you a couple of really cool examples of what a strategic partnership can do. and the impact that it can have. Grant funds, in-kind donations like a van. It's critical to overcome the challenges. So we gave you the challenge and we gave you the solution. And we suggest that you monitor and evaluate these partnerships. So start exploring and initiating these strategic partnerships. If for those of you that are going to attend next week's Lunch and Learn, I want to hear about what did you do between today and next week on Wednesday? What event did you find? What networking group? What workshop did you find? And what did you sign up for so that you can start creating these strategic partnerships? Okay. I'm going to open up for questions. Anybody have any questions? We have about, I knew it was going to be a heavy one today. We've got about 5 or so minutes left. Any questions? And this can be on strategic partners, or it can be on anything in the nonprofit sector. You can either put in the chat or just ask. I know we were so thorough today. Y'all don't have any questions. Go ahead, Tyrone.
I did have a question. I think probably on the third slide, great presentation. On the third slide, it talked about sort of some of the different areas of strategic partnership. And I think one of them was like geographical considerations. And so I think like, I would love to get like a little bit more, I think, context with that, because as I'm scaling and growing and looking, that's a really sweet spot to know that people have other locations and they have like scalability and just certain things like that. And so looking at, maybe can you give it advice, maybe like maybe the approach going in maybe 2024 to maybe look at how to like maybe snag them, and also maybe how to like build with some of these people long term, because some of these people aren't even in LA, possibly with, right. For me, they're in like different states, but those are sort of the areas I want to kind of build with.
So let me give everyone in the group some context. So although Tyrone has his nonprofit, it's bigger than us, and it's in the city of Los Angeles County, you are also implementing in other locations like Oklahoma. Okay. So when you're a nonprofit organization and you're going to branch out of the local area where you physically reside, what's going to be super, super important, and especially for you, Tyrone, because you're not in Oklahoma, you'll go and visit, but you're not physically there every day. You're going to want to appoint someone who is physically there in Oklahoma, who can be your community advocate, who can be kind of like what you do in Los Angeles, but in Oklahoma. So somebody who's on the ground in Oklahoma that can find local businesses, local networking groups, attend like local association of fundraising professionals, for example, and can represent your nonprofit organization boots on the ground. Until you guys have the presence and the, large aware of everyone, until you're like a United Way, but even organizations like United Way and Goodwill, they have on the feet people in every single location so that there's a local point person. So that's going to be really important for you in your geographical considerations, especially if you're considering expanding beyond where you physically reside. And then of course, to have in your budget funds for traveling so that you can physically go there and help cultivate some of those relationships too, because ultimately, we always like to see if we can hire other people to represent our organization, but nobody can do it better than you. So until you've got that person that can represent at the level you represent, it's bigger than us, you'll have to go out there sometimes too. And so you'll want to have in your budget, marketing, travel, lodging, and things like that, so that you can physically go there and help cultivate some of those relationships too, and find the right person who then can develop a team, just like you guys are doing for Black Professional Network. So Black Professional Network started in Miami, Florida, and then Kanasha branched out, and she's in, I think, Chicago and Los Angeles and maybe one other location. She had to find people in those locations to be the local geographical person to represent the nonprofit organization. Does that help?
Yeah, that actually helps. Thank you so much.
Yep.
Dr. Sharon, this is Karen.
Hi, Karen.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you doing?
Good. Earlier, you mentioned someone that's on the call in Los Angeles that has events, women's events that we could connect with. Someone called me on my other phone, so I missed that. plug. Is it possible that can go in the chat so I can reach out to her?
Yep, I believe she's actually logged on here to today, Nikia Carter with 218 Vision. She has women
Okay.
elevating women events in Los Angeles all the time. And she's going to be expanding to be outside of Los Angeles too. So for people who are in the Bay Area, and eventually I would imagine she'll probably take it to other states too. So Karen,
Okay.
since you're local, Nikia Carter with Women Elevating Women, and her nonprofit is 218 Vision. And then
Okay.
the other one that'd be really cool is the Black Professionals Network, because they have events like every single week. And that link is
Okay.
in the chat too. And I'll try
Okay.
to post it again. But
And I'm putting my information in the chat also.
okay.
So that and I'd like to reach out to Nikia as well.
Yeah, I would definitely do that. Her
Okay.
I'm gonna put the name of her nonprofit, 218 Vision.
Okay.
And then the Black Professional Network is a really good one. They're having stuff all the time.
Okay, I just put my information in and I'll grab hers from the chat.
Okay.
Thank you.
And then
Okay.
don't forget, for everyone, no matter where you're located, is the Association of Fundraising Professionals. And Alex put the link to that in the chat box too. So these, especially for you guys who are starting out brand new, I know a couple of you mentioned it, Tangela, and I think was it Angelique? Was that you? Sorry if it wasn't. Oh, Candace, you guys. So brand new, starting out nonprofit organizations, these groups are going to be critical to your success. And the room is filled with hundreds of people. And they have virtual networking opportunities and in person.
Thank you.
Yep, of course. Okay, Latanya, I see you do an annual health fair back to school block party in West Fresno, and you're looking for help. So what you're going to want to do, especially in Fresno, and I know it's there because I had a program in Fresno for veterans. So in Fresno, the local city council has what's called discretionary funding. So go to your local city council office for Fresno, find out who maybe is the like educational or youth person in that political office, and ask them about what type of discretionary funds that they may have. And don't let them tell you they don't have any, because that's full of bullshit. They have it. Any other questions, y'all? Thank you so much for joining our Lunch and Learn today. Chamber Nation's always a party. Come back and join us every week, Wednesday at 1 p.m., 4 p.m. Eastern. Oh, Alex, good one. Drop of the gem in the chat. Make sure you communicate year round, not just at the end of the year when you need money. Using Facebook is great for virtual relationships and meetups. In fact, Facebook has all sorts of nonprofit groups that you guys can join. There's groups on Facebook for QuickBooks. There's groups on Facebook for grants, groups on Facebook for just like cultivating relationships. Latanya, if you're still on here, the boss of the elephant family put a really great link of economic development businesses in Fresno. It's the Council of Governments for there. So click that link before I end this session today.
I got it. Thank you.
Of course, I'm about to hire my mom for free, y'all. I'm going to pay her in pedicures and manicures.
Yay! Nice.
That's so cute.
Okay, so like I said, today's recorded, you guys. I will send out this PowerPoint. I will send out the recording. Join our private Facebook group. If you haven't, send us an email if you aren't sure how, but I'll put the link to our private Facebook group in the recap after party email. We will see you all next week at 1 o'clock Pacific, 4 p.m. Eastern. Thank you so much again. We love having you guys. We'll be doing this every week for the rest of the year.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Of course, thanks for joining, guys.
Thank you.
Don't forget to leverage your boards. Make your board members work or kick them out. All right, bye everybody. Have a fantastic week. We'll see you all next week. Brian, I hope my next phone call to you, man, is you were approved.